One of my biggest disappointments was Javic. Javic was... I don't know, I guess I would have done it differently. Like, I was expecting... but I guess that's what BioWare was going for. Kind of feeling that Liara had. Where it was like, really? That's what the Protheans... Really? Like, come on, you know? It would have been so much better if they had included a Prothean that was, I don't know, some scientist. Like, you know, like, I would have loved to see an embodiment of Vigil. That would have been so good. I think a lot of people would have loved to see that. But of course, I think that would have made the Crucible and the Catalyst a little bit easier to find out about. I mean, maybe that's why they didn't include a scientist Prothean, because that way it was more of a mystery what the Crucible was, and it wasn't like they had all the answers like right away. It's like, oh, that's what it is. Okay, well, let's just do that. You know, so you had to search for the answers, and it's like the Prothean didn't know. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on here. But I was disappointed with everything about the Prothean. Like, it was just, he was kind of annoying, and it was just like, dude, Javic, seriously, man, just shut up. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I just did not like him. Sometimes he was kind of funny and stuff like that, but I just didn't like him as a character. I thought he was, like, dull and just weird. It was just like, maybe that's what BioWare's going for, like I said, so that you kind of related with Liara, where you were just kind of like, really? That's what the Protheans were like? I still would have loved them to look like those statues on Ilos. Of course, though, that turns out to be the Inuanan, or whatever they're called. Javic mentions that. He says that they were there, they lived on Ilos, the Inuanan, I think that's what they're called. So that's who those creatures were, but I think they would have made really awesome Protheans. They would have been kind of weird, but, I mean, they could have just, you know, fixed the whole huge limbs and all that, but for them to look kind of like that, I think they look pretty awesome. I would have loved that. The whole Haestrom and Dolan thing, the dark energy thing from Mass Effect 2 was completely just tossed out the airlock. It was left like nothing ever happened, like they didn't even touch upon it. I heard that was going to be the original ending for Mass Effect 3. It was going to have to do with the dark energy that they were alluding to or foreshadowing in Mass Effect 2. I don't know too much about that. I haven't read too much about the original ending, but I don't know if it would have been better. That was left up in the air, and I was just like, what? That was really interesting to me. Like, I was really looking forward to finding out what that was all about. But they just, like, pretended like nothing happened. They're like, oh, those Mass Effect fans will never question Haestrom and Dolan. They won't even remember. The cover system I wasn't a big fan of the cover system, the new cover system. I did like the roll, because that came in handy a lot, especially when you're, like, going to get shot by a Reaper beam. You just roll that way. That was cool. But the actual cover system was too much for me to handle. Like, maybe it was just, I mean, I think a lot of people got used to it fast. It took me some time to get used to. I did get used to it, but you know how you have to, like, press down on the analog stick, and then you move this way and he'll roll that way on the cover. That was just too much for me to think about when I'm, like, trying to shoot somebody's head off with the sniper rifle. It was just like, oh god, it was kind of inaccurate and kind of impractical for my style. So I hardly ever used it. I would just, like, go cover and then use my sniper rifle, and then if I was getting attacked, I just roll that way and then go back into cover. That was it. I didn't really use, like, the actual mechanics of the cover system, because it was just kind of annoying for me. The Kai Leng boss battle was such a joke. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I swear I just sat there while he's, like, doing his gymnastics. I sat there with my sniper rifle looking at him through the scope for, like, a full minute. I was like, you seriously just twirling around right now? Like, he was just twirling around, doing, like kind of, like, busting some moves, like saying, hey, look, Shepard, what I can do. Hell yeah, look. And you're just like, he didn't even attack you. If you shot him, he's like, oh, hold up, guys, I gotta go charge. And I was just like, really? That's it? Like, it wasn't even a boss battle. It was just him busting some moves. I was like, God, this is so stupid. They really, really ruined the boss battle with Kai Leng. Kai Leng, I really loved Kai Leng from the books. And I was so looking forward to seeing him in the game. I mean, you guys saw my reaction video when I first saw him. I was like going crazy because I was like, oh my God, it's Kai Leng! But his incorporation afterwards in the game, it was just like, that's it? It was just a disappointment. And there was so much that they could have done with him. I mean, he's a freaking ninja assassin dude. Like, come on, man, you could have done so much with him. And you just left them doing somersaults and backflips in front of you. And you're just like, that was so stupid. Probably the biggest disappointment, not just for me, but for a lot of people. Tali's face. Wow. Tali's stock photo, if you guys haven't seen it, you should see it. I don't really consider it a spoiler. I mean, unless you romance Tali in one of your gameplays, then I guess if you want to wait until then, because you only get to see it in her romance, if you romance her. If you don't get to see it. I didn't get to see it, so I looked for it online because I've never romanced Tali. And, oh my God, I was like, are you serious? It was so... I mean, everything about it, even how she looks like a freaking human. She looks like a human. I was like, did you seriously just put a little thing right here, a little line going up, and you made her eyes kind of white? That's it. They just got a picture of a lady, some model, I guess, and they just did that, like some stock photo, and they just put it there. And I was like, that is so lazy, BioWare. That was lazy. Oh my God, I guess they just thought, oh, she's hot. Nobody could ever say anything about that. Wow. I was so surprised. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. They should have just left it out. Oh man, that was so bad. That was a disappointment. Huge. And I can imagine how big of a disappointment that was for people that romance Tali. I mean, come on. She's got Dextro DNA, pretty similar to Garrus. Yet she looks almost identical to a human. Oh my God. So, she can't even eat human food. Her DNA is so different from humans, but she almost looks identical as a human. I'm sure there's a lot of other things that bothered me, but this is getting really long, and those are the major ones, and those are the ones that I actually wrote down that I could remember. Oh, you know what I hated? Oh, that's one of the major things. The customization of your character, your actual appearance. That was so annoying. It was so... Oh, I don't even know how to say it. Like, if they were barely gonna do anything to it, like upgrade it or make it different, they shouldn't have touched it. They should have just left it the way it was for Mass Effect 2. Because I tried to import my Mass Effect 2 character. I mean, there was that whole import appearance from Mass Effect 1 problem, but whatever. I got over it and I created my Shepard again and he looked pretty much the same. But my Mass Effect 2 character, I imported her, and she looks so different. Not to the point where she's completely somebody else, like the whole Mass Effect 1 issue, but she looked different. I always loved the way that my FemShep looked in Mass Effect 2. I was always like, I love the way she looks. And in Mass Effect 3, she just looked really bad. Like, the hairstyle that she had in Mass Effect 2 looked perfect. And in Mass Effect 3, it looked really weird. The same hairstyle. It just looked weird. It was that short hairstyle, the really short one. It was like a, boy cut almost. In Mass Effect 3, it looks horrible on a character. I don't know if it has to do with the color, the hair color that makes it look different, but her hair color is blonde, and it just looked so bad blonde. Like, I tried it black, and it looked a little bit better, but I was like, no, that's not my femme shep. Like, I made her, I recreated her, like, maybe like 10 times almost, trying to get a shepherd that looked like her, but that I could actually stand looking at, and I can't do it. Like, she just doesn't look good to me, and I was just like, oh my god. And I don't want to completely change her, because that's not my femme shep. Like, I want to see her as she was in Mass Effect 2. And I was like, well, maybe I'll give her longer hair. You know, her hair grew out. She still doesn't look good to me. I'm just like, ah! And I'm really picky about that, about how my character looks. If my character looks like, just slightly off, with the way that I imagine the character, forget it. Like, I start over, and I'm just like, oh. So that was really frustrating. The changes that the customization had, the appearance, and also BioWare had said that they were gonna have. I mean, on Twitter they kept on asking, "What other hairstyles do you guys want?" They're like, "We're gonna have dreadlocks and longer hair for the males and all this other stuff," and they didn't have it. It's just like, dude, where's all the other stuff that you guys said you were gonna have? I thought that was so bad. I was just like, man, that was disappointing. I think that's pretty much it. So overall, I loved the game. I thought it was a very fun game to play. It did feel like the last installment, and even though the ending was kind of left open, it wasn't really closed. No matter what ending you had, it really was left open. It was left like kind of like a to be continued. The game really did feel like the ending. The way that you said goodbye to your squad mates and all that. That was awesome. I loved that. All of it. I loved it. The last few minutes, of course, were very, very just. I still don't get it. Like, I'm trying to understand it. I really am trying to understand it. But with my personality, I just really analyze everything closely, and if I see anything that doesn't fit or that doesn't make sense, I'm like, that doesn't fit. Like, why does it not fit? Is it because this isn't right, or is it because there's another answer there? I do think that BioWare has something up their sleeve, though. Something that is going to where people are going to be like, whoa, like, that was crazy. Would I recommend Mass Effect 3? I definitely would recommend Mass Effect 3 to any Mass Effect fan. Don't let the horrible talk about the ending make you not play it. Because, seriously, a game that took me 60 hours to beat, only the last 10 minutes was just like this WTF moment. But everything else was so worth it. Everything else was perfect. Like, it was awesome. Even though I have some of those dislikes, it wasn't enough. It was nowhere near enough for me to say that the game sucked. It didn't. I loved playing it, and I want to play it again. It's just, you just have to go into it not thinking about what everybody is saying about it. That, oh, it's horrible, and you know, this and that, and the last 10 minutes are stupid, and this, and who knows what. The last 10 minutes were very WTF. That's the only word that I can think of. There's those theories out there, and if you want to believe one of those theories, then that's totally fine. But I wouldn't say don't play it. I definitely would not say don't play it. I would definitely recommend it for any Mass Effect fan. And for those of you that have never played Mass Effect before, I'd say go play the first and the second game first, so that you could really understand Mass Effect 3. Because as much as you could play the game as a standalone, it doesn't have the same effect as it would if you played the first and the second game first. Because it is a very emotional game, and it's a lot. It has so much to do with the interaction and the relationships with the other characters that you have already met in the past. So without that history, it doesn't feel the same. So that's pretty much what I thought about Mass Effect 3. I had a blast playing it. I'm going to go back to playing it, but not immediately. I think I'm going to leave it for a while, but I have started my FemShep already. Thank you for watching, and let me know what you guys thought about the whole game in itself, and not just, you know, don't just judge it by the ending. Judge it as a game, as a whole, you know, because Mass Effect 3 was pretty much the ending to the series. Whether it had closure at the end, whether it ended with the end, or whether it ended with a to be continued, it was still the last. You know, it really did lead you to the end, or towards the end at least. So yeah, I will talk to you guys later.